What's up, everyone? And today I'm bringing to you another tier list for, well, not another tier list, but a tier list for the February 2022 format. Now, a couple things before, kind of take everything in this video with a little bit of grain of salt, because this format is still very much, it's still very much an open format. I mentioned you got Adventure just taking all sorts of decks to top cuts. So it's definitely making this not an easy tier list. This is probably the hardest tier list I had to do because for the past ones I at least had something to kind of go off of. Like, because the format was, for the most part, pretty solved. But now it's ish. It's solved-ish. So it's really hard to tell. So if I may put one deck higher than the other, it's just really hard because a lot of it's just unsolved. And secondly, if a deck is not included in here, then most oftentimes I usually just consider it everything else a rogue. I remember on my last list, someone said something about Despia, although at the time of recording said video, Despia didn't really get a top, but I still would have just put it in rogue or everything else. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First, Adamantipator. As much as I really like Adamantipator and I actually was able to get a top with it, it's a rogue at best. Not at best. Like, it can move up here. It's just that the one thing that this deck kind of suffers from is that the first normal summon can be kind of punishable, which is something I noticed, is that if a deck in its first summon you can basically just shut down the deck off of its first summon, most oftentimes you're gonna lose that. Especially if it's a deck like Adamantipator, which is very reliant on its normal summon. Now, depending on what else you have in your hand, obviously it may not matter. Like, let's say you have a Rock, Seeker, and Analyzer. Doesn't matter what they do, you're gonna be able to go off most scenarios. Apparently, I think this got top, but still, this deck's kind of fallen a little. Like, I wouldn't even consider it a rogue, because I feel like Adamantipator is just a lot better than Beetrooper, Battle Wasp. Fluffles, that actually got on top. Now, that was with the Adventure. I should probably get that out of the way first. The Adventure, I'm putting it in tier 0, not because I think the deck itself is tier 0, because it's not really a deck itself, it's an engine. But there's a lot of decks on here that are on here as a result of the Brave tokens. So it's definitely been a format warping engine, and Fluffles have been one of them. I feel comfortable putting this in a row because Fluffles is a deck that you definitely don't want to underestimate it, because I have, and I got punished for that. And you can definitely do a whole lot of interesting stuff. Tri-Brigade, tier 1.5. Now, yes, they lost Simorph Bird of Sovereignty and Resettle Starling to 1. That just takes out of tier 1. That's really all it does. Because Tri-Brigade is such a very strong deck that you just took rid of the unfair card. You basically just made it more of a balance. Like, instead of being like, here's a strong board, oh, and we also got a statue to deal with that. Have fun. At least now you have some semblance of a counterplay against a Tri-Brigade board. Versus if they had the barrier statue, yeah, you didn't have any. If they had the double Dragon Lords and the Stormwinds on, you weren't really going to be doing much of anything unless you had a Dropless or a Dark Ruler. Now you actually can counter a board like that. But it's still a very strong board. Like, there's obviously still things you can do. Obviously, you got the Shurug, I don't remember the name of it, is that one utopic card that you go into off of, I think, Utopic Future. Still good deck. Dragon Link. I've been looking and looking, and I'm not seeing any topping results with it. Now, that's just what I'm seeing. And I just feel like people really aren't playing this deck anymore. I would honestly put it maybe like a high rogue, borderline tier 2. I do think it's stronger than Fluffles, but I just kind of put it on the same level as Adamant Spear, maybe a little bit better. Mutants. This was actually hard to talk about. Now, this one actually topped like Fluffles due to Adventure. And honestly, I don't know much about mutants. Like, I got the deck actually yesterday. I was recording this video, so I'm just now kind of like trying to figure out how the deck even functions because I don't even know that. And it's getting support. Well, support maybe no. But in Battles of Chaos, it's getting a new card, which I read it and it was actually pretty good. I want to put this in a rogue. Honestly, I want to put this higher because I just think that this deck looks like a lot of fun, but I can't put it higher than rogue for now. Flaundries, that's a tier 1.5. 4 is, I guess, kind of more like a low tier 1.5, tier 2, but this is a very solid tier 1.5 now because of the new card, which definitely does help out this deck quite a bit. Cosmos. Cosmos has actually been seeing a resurgence, which is pretty cool. And although I remember, I think in a couple tier lists ago, I put it at tier 2. Well, it looks like that actually aged pretty well. And I wouldn't say it's a tier 2. It's gaining a lot of traction, obviously, but I'd say it needs a little bit more of a push. Like, I think it's borderline rogue. It's kind of like I wouldn't say it's as good as like Adamantipator or Dragon Link because unfortunately Cosmos, at least the way I play, it's more of a control variant. Like, Dark Destroyer is cool, but you can break with this deck as well. Guru. I actually don't know. I feel like a rogue, solid rogue. Guru's always been kind of like just a rogue deck. Like, you'll see it here and there. Invoked Shadal Dogmatica. I'm going to put this in a tier 1.5. Now, this deck's been still getting tops and everything, but like I see it get like 3 tops and I don't see a top, then it gets like 3. Like, it's really hard to really kind of like figure out where this deck's going. So right now I'm just putting it in a safe spot. It's still a good deck, and it's still pretty terrifying. Next we got Frog Paleozoic. I'm going to put this in everything else, but this deck has actually been seeing a little bit of a resurgence. Not like a very big one, but I have been seeing it, so it's definitely something to keep an eye out. Salamangrates has actually been making a small resurgence as well. I'm actually going to put it in tier 2 for right now, because one thing I noticed is that the Salamangrate deck has actually been evolving in a way. Now they're playing the DP engine. They obviously now have 2 Salamangrate Circle, and depending on the next ban list, it could be at 3. So I feel like this deck is just slowly inching its way back upwards. But would I say it's stronger than like Tri-Brigade, Flaundries? No. Sky Striker, very strong tier 1.5. Sky Striker is definitely a deck you're going to have to be keeping an eye out, and you definitely have to really know how to play it, considering IO is banned, so the hard counter for this deck is essentially gone. Like, outside of the Imperial Order, this deck doesn't really fear a whole lot. I know I've actually been playing Sky Striker. It's kind of switched from like Flaundries to Sky Striker, but honestly, in all the duels I've been having, like, the only card that was really annoying was Imperial Order. Like, even if you want to run anti-spell fragrance, that's just not going to really do much of anything. Fortunately, Sky Striker focuses on playing this sort of control game. You want to activate anti-spell? Fine. We'll play to that game. Fan Knives, tier 1. Very obvious tier 1. And it's definitely looking like it's going to be one of the best decks of the format. Not sure if I'm excited for that or not. And, like, this thing's just been everywhere. The Brave Engine just helps Fan Knight more so than any other deck. Luna Lights. Very interesting thing with Luna Lights. We got Luna Light Tiger back to 1, which, in a Luna Light deck is kind of more like 3 copies. And if you haven't seen my stream, 1 Tiger can do a lot. And I mean, a lot. Like, I was winning and I didn't have my full powered Luna Light Tri-Brigade deck because you can play the DP Scythe Lock in addition to having a 4 negate Appaloosa with it, Cyber Dragon Infinity. Like, this deck can, when it goes off, it goes off. Like, I thought Emancipator made a good board, but no, this could make an even better board than that. Now, obviously, this deck's not topping right now because as of the recording of this video, the ban list goes into effect tomorrow, although when it's being uploaded, it's probably the day of or maybe the day after. So as far as I know, like, I remember, so someone actually did host like a tournament with after the ban list, and Luna actually did good. It got a top. So I'm putting it in tier 2 because it really depends on how things kind of go. Like, this is a deck that I believe has potentially be tier 1.5, but it can also just fall down to rogue. It's just really how this deck plays out. Dinos. I'm gonna put this in rogue for now. The reason I'm putting this in rogue is because I'm not seeing many dino tops. And I feel like it's kind of in the same way as like Dragon Link, people just like not really giving it much more attention now. Like, both of these definitely have potential to be higher, but I just feel like they're just not really getting that attention. Elemental Heroes. Everything else. I'm sorry, the deck's just from a personal experience, like, because I've actually been playing against a lot of heroes, because the tournaments I've been going to, I've been seeing heroes, but honestly, I can say I'm not impressed. Like, I've just been beating those pretty easily. Like, none of their boards are doing anything that's going to stop me from doing anything. Oh, you got a Dark Law on the field. That's not really as impressive as you might think. Sure, you lock us. You basically send all our cards to the grave. Attack for game. Like, there's just still so many ways around anything a hero player does. So, Live Twins got a little bit of steam and it just kind of dissipated. Mech Knights. Interesting enough, this is actually getting multiple tops, which is really kind of surprising me because that deck just popped out of nowhere. I don't know if it's because of the Brave engine, but I don't think it was. Which is very interesting. I'm gonna put it in rogue for now, but that's like a high rogue, borderline tier 2. This is definitely a deck that has potential to move upward. You know, actually, I think I might put this on more rogue because I feel like This deck is just gaining a lot of steam, and I feel like it's just going to start becoming more and more prevalent. Thunder Dragons. Rogue. It's been seeing like a small pop-up. Even has an engine as well, which is interesting, but that's also mainly because Snow is unbanned. Drytron. I really don't know where to put this right now, because Eva... I don't know how much losing Eva really hurts this deck, because I'm not a Drytron player. So I'm going to put this in a tier 2-ish for now. Take this one with a grain of salt, because I honestly have no idea. It might be able to play through one Eva and still be like a tier 1.5, tier 2 deck, but it may not even be that good. It may just fall down off to the wayside. Speedroids. It topped, but I don't think that's going to continue. Dragon Maid. Actually, Dragon Maid got a top, very interestingly enough. However, it was just the one top. But Dragon Maid's very interesting because you can like tag out and also use that to avoid things. But I feel like it's just, along with everything else for right now. Elbit. Why? To be honest, I don't like this deck. And I'm going to hate it even more when Skill Drain goes to 3. I feel like it's going to be a tier 1.5, tier 2. Honestly, I'm going to put it in a tier 1.5 just because now that it has 3 skill drains, that's already such an impressive card. I can finally put this on this list. Because Adventure ABC is a thing. I know I keep switching between Adventure and Brave because I don't really know. I'm just getting the names confused. Well, not really confused, but I like both names-ish. But this has actually been topping, and it's been doing that more than once. So, you know what? I'm putting it there because I want to. Regardless if it's actually a tier 2 deck, I'm putting it there because I want to. I really want to put it like right here, but obviously not. I'm just putting it in tier 2. I want it to be there. I hope it'll be there. And now that it's topping, I gotta go get me some adventure stuff. Medulces. I feel like that's kind of like around the rogue. I put it on the same level as like Dinos, Guru, Adamantipator. It's a really good deck, but it's just popping here and there, and it just really hasn't gotten that resurgence, or not really a resurgence, but that surge yet. Dragoonity, because Dragoonity Adventure is a thing. Along with everything else. Altergeist. Another rogue deck. I kind of like want to put it on the same level as like Guru. Sword Soul, another tier 1.5. A lot of Sarge now since Proto, so the deck's definitely a lot more fair and balanced. And to be honest, Sword Soul, it's not really that terrifying of a deck. It's just very consistent. Because honestly, when I'm going against Sword Soul, I can't say that I've had too much problems with it. And like, I'm not complaining about the deck one bit. I think it's perfectly fine and balanced. It's just really solid deck. Despia. For right now, I'm putting it in the everything else. I think I heard about it getting a top or 2, but I'm just not really seeing a whole bunch of it yet. But once the structure deck does come out, obviously that's going to change. It might jump up, but for right now, I'm just putting it in the everything else. Mystic Mind. You can stay right there forever, all of eternity. Prank Kids. Also tier 1.5. Prank Kids and Phantom Knights are the decks that can definitely use the Adventure engine at its best. And one thing, now that I look at it like this, you realize outside of Phantom Knights and Prank Kids, the Adventure tokens are actually pretty helpful. Because honestly, I never thought I'd see Dragoonity, Mutants, ABC, or a lot of other decks in these top decks, or top cuts. So honestly, I think it's proven to be really healthy outside of Phantom Knights, of course. There's going to have to be something done to kind of like rein in the power of Phantom Knights, but next we have Exo Sister. It also got top, but I don't expect that to change much. And sorry for the picture. Like, honestly, I could not find an Exo Sister picture. I don't know why. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my tier list. What do you think? Do you disagree? Agree with some of that? Obviously, depending on where you live, that changes. Obviously, like I'd say where I live, Sword Soul's a tier 1 deck because I see it all the time. But as I said at the beginning, take what you see here with a little bit of a grain of salt because the format is still very much undefined. So some of this could very easily change. Well, tomorrow, who knows? Punk Kids Adventure could be a thing, and I don't know. Like, that's just how fast this format is going, because Adventure's just completely wrecking everything. In a good way, though. And, that'll be it for this video, and I will see you in the next video I make. Bye.